Mr. Lawrence? Court is in, good morning. The court is in session in cause number 330754. Case of style of state of Texas versus Justin Leon Weber. Mr. Weber, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Weber, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Weber, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Weber, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Weber? You doing all right?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Weber, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Attorney Jack Lawrence. Mr. Lawrence, how are you doing?
Just fine, Your Honor.
That's good. The state is represented by Attorney Blake Ham. Mr. Ham, how are you doing?
Doing well, thank you, Your Honor.
That's good. Now, Mr. Weber, I have before me a document that is titled Information. In this information, it alleges that on or about September 4th of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of burglary of a vehicle. Mr. Weber, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Weber, how did you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? No contest. Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Weber, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishment. Mr. Weber, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Weber, there are a set of initials on a line that's checked nola contingent, which means no contest.
Yes, sir.
Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On the next page of the same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document, which is titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There's one box that's checked at the top of this document. The box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I also have before me, Mr. Weber, a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Weber, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I've just showed you, did your attorney, Mr. Lawrence, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct
Yes, sir.
to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit 1 and State's Exhibit number 2, the probable cause affidavit. State, you like to offer States 1 and 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
Oh, no, Your Honor.
No objections. State's Exhibits number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Lawrence, you've advised and counseled Mr. Weber. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
Oh, none, Your Honor.
Mr. Weber, your attorney, Mr. Lawrence, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, he has.
Mr. Weber, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Your Honor, the agreement is for 1 year deferred probation, 50 hours of community service, drug and alcohol assessments. And during the term of the probation, Mr. Weber must stay 100 from 5010, that's 50100 Bel Air Avenue, Rose, Texas, 77619.
Just to explain for the courts, his house is 5 houses down from that house. That's why it's 150 feet.
Okay, okay. Now, Mr. Weber, the state is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation. During the 1 year probationary period, you will not be required to pay a fine. However, you will be required to pay court costs of $307. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You will also be required to reimburse Jefferson County court-appointed attorney's fees of $250. Your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you would have to pay each month while you're on probation, is $130. Will you be able to pay the $130?
Yes, sir.
You will also be required to perform 50 hours of community service. You're required to stay 150 feet away from 5010 Bel Air Avenue in Grove, Texas, 77619. And you also be required to have a drug and alcohol assessment. You will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation. Mr. Weber, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
I do, sir.
Mr. Weber, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you've entered into with the state. Mr. Weber, successfully complete the probationary period. This case will be dismissed. It will not result in a conviction in your record, and you may qualify for a non-disclosure. You can talk to your attorney about a non-disclosure because he's quite confident in those matters. Mr. Weber, please stand on the X next to your attorney. You'll follow the directions of our clerk, and once you finish following her directions, you'll be, and you have a blessed
You
day.
too, sir. Thank you, Judge.
You are,
Yes, Your Honor.
Can I go ahead and get your right thumbprint on that blue wire located in front of you? Thank you. And your thumb. Can I go ahead and get your signature on that signature as well too in front of you? You won't be able to see it.
Morning, Judge.
And Mr. Lawrence, I think
The court is in session and calls number 330754. Case is filed the state of Texas versus Willie James Drew. We have Mr. Willie James Drew, who president in court. Is that correct? That's your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Drew, how are you doing?
All right.
That's good. Mr. Drew, you're here with your attorney, Mr. Bruce Cobb. Mr. Cobb, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
That's good. The state is represented by Attorney Daniel Boyd. Attorney Boyd, how are you doing?
Doing well, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Cobb, Mr. Drew's case is on the court's announcement docket. Do you have an announcement that you'd like to make?
I just want to go ahead and get another reset, Your Honor, get firm discovery and also talk some more with Mr. Drew.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Cobb, your case is gonna be reset. Did you get with the court coordinators to get your reset? Once you get your reset, Mr. Drew, from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. That's Willie Drew on page 2, the announcement docket, reset it. Willie Drew. Bruce Cobb, he's right there. Motion revoke probation. Good morning. Court is in session and clause number 324914. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Joshua Dale Raleigh. Mr. Raleigh, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Raleigh?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Raleigh, you're here represented by your attorney, Ms. Laura Barrazo. Ms. Barrazo, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Your Honor. Thank you.
That's good. And the state, represented by Attorney Blake Ham, the probation office is represented by Ms. Rachel Lopez. Ms. Lopez and Mr. Ham, what is the recommendation of the state in Mr. Raleigh's case?
I have it listed that the probation department is requesting a reset for 30 days so that the defendant can complete his CSR hours. He did bring his payments in full, so community service is all that remains.
Okay. Could you give us a reset? Okay, the case is gonna be reset to March 4th of 2022. To give Mr. Raleigh an opportunity to complete his community service hours. Ms. Barrazo, you can get your reset from our coordinator, and Ms. Raleigh, once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. He's at the bottom of page 1 on the announcement docket. This is cause numbers 331006, cause number 331008. Both cases are style of state of Texas versus Byron Paul Perry. Mr. Perry, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Perry, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Perry, do you swear? Well, you can put your hand down. I thought it was a plea. Mr. Perry, how are you doing?
Doing well, Judge, and yourself?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Perry, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Peter Dahl. Mr. Dahl, how are you doing?
Prefer Judge.
Mr. Dahl, what is your announcement in Mr. Perry's cases?
That he came in to see me earlier this week and we talked about it at some length and I need more time.
Okay,
So,
how much time do you need?
60 days. probably.
Okay. Ms. Smith, Mr. Perry, reset Mr. Perry for 60 days?
60 days,
Yes.
that'll be 4/22.
Okay, this case is gonna be reset to April 22 of 2022. Mr. Perry, once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go. Mr. Dahl, please stand over there on the X, sign the reset. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go as well.
Thanks, Judge.
Okay,
Turn my seat, sir.
you can go over there with your attorney.
It's gonna require different signatures.
Did you get Colin Carpenter?
I'm
Are you still
waiting
working on
the
that?
state. I'm waiting on the state.
Okay, just hold on. Just hold on a minute. All right. Gilliam, Boudreaux. Orange, Dole. Let's see. Cole, Grove. Okay, we're in session and clause number 331054, case of style of state of Texas versus Cameron D. Brown. Mr. Brown, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brown, how are you doing?
I'm okay, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Mr. Brown. I see here that your case was reset till this date to give you an opportunity to hire an attorney. Have you hired your attorney?
No, sir, there's been a lot going on for our bills, like with my family. So I ain't really have the funds to get a lawyer right now, so I have to go see if I get more time or so. To do,
Well, how much time do you need?
probably like 1 or 2. How much?
Okay, let's reset it 60 days. We're gonna give you opportunities. Okay, your case is gonna be reset to April 22 of 2022. Give you opportunity to get your attorney that you would like to hire. Please stand on the X in front of our court coordinator, it's 4X. Once you stand on the X, she'll give you a reset. You'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Terrell Reese. This is clause number 316012, clause number 316014, and clause number 317174. We have three cases. All three cases are style, state of Texas versus Terrell D. Reese. Mr. Reese, is that your full name?
Yes.
How are you doing, Mr. Reese? That's good. Mr. Reese, you have, I see here that you made an appearance on your motion to revoke probation. Your case was reset to give you an opportunity to hire an attorney. Is that correct? Have you hired your attorney?
No, sir.
Why haven't you hired your attorney?
Been working, I ain't had the time to go find one.
You've been working, you haven't had time to go find one. Okay. Okay, if I'm gonna reset this case 30 days, 30 days, you need to go out, make an appointment with a lawyer that you would like to hire. Okay? And then, what date is that? Okay, this case is gonna be reset to March 4th of 2022 to give you an opportunity to hire an attorney. Now, once you hire your attorney will contact the court, and this court date may be reset by your attorney that you hire, okay? All right. So,
Your Honor, I think we will probably have that worked out when he gets an attorney. We'll do a dismissal in 2 times, sir. He took care of his felony
all right, just stand over there. Wait, and once you get your reset, you'll be free to go. You have a blessed day. Let's see, are they still? They did something else on it, and they took it off? It's at the bottom now.
Yeah, they're gonna change it, so I sent it back.
What about, are you ready on, Carpenter?
No, sir, the state still hasn't signed it.
Okay. Okay, we're back on the record in calls number 316012, calls number 316014, and calls numbers 317174. All three cases are style of state of Texas versus Terrell D. Reese. Now, Mr. Reese, previously, you had signed a document that was titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendant Without an Attorney. Is that correct?
Could you please
Hold
repeat
on.
that?
Could you print that document off for me? Hold on a minute. It's, he has three cases, yes. This here document, Judge's Explanation.
And what did I sign?
Do you see it on the first case? Maybe they have, there's been one case with all three numbers. Go to the first case, the 316012.
Oh, here it is.
Okay, Mr. Reese. I'm gonna show you a document that is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendant Without an Attorney. Mr. Bailiff, would you hand this to him? You recognize that document?
Yes, sir.
Now, you're asking, you want to change. Now, on that document, you stated that you wanted your case reset to hire an attorney. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, you want to change your choice? Okay. And so he has to give him another document that has this, that he has to fill out. Now, at the bottom, you have five choices. One, it says, I want to reset the case to hire my own attorney. Or if you've already hired an attorney, then your second choice is, I have hired an attorney whose name is, you put your initials on the second line and the name of the attorney on the line to the right. Now, if you want to apply for court-appointed attorney, put your initials on the third line. If you've already been a court-appointed attorney, initials on the fourth line, name of the attorney on the line to the right. And if you want to waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself, you'll put your initials on the fifth line, okay? Now, in this document, it states that you may not speak to a prosecutor about your case unless you sign a written waiver of your right to be represented by an attorney. Be aware that there are dangers to self-representation. Waiving your right to an attorney representing yourself may result in the worst outcome for you and your case, including the loss of significant legal rights and opportunities relating to military service, possession of a firearm, housing and public benefits, child custody, immigration status for non-citizens, and employment. And if you choose to proceed without an attorney, you may change your mind at any time and may request counsel from the court. Now, once you finish making your choice, you'll sign at the bottom where it says defendant, and you'll put the day's date, February 4th of 2022. Let's see, he chose. So now, since you selected that you wanted to waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself, I'll read the next document, which is titled Waiver of Counsel for Purposes of Entering a Guilty Plea or Proceeding to Trial. And it reads, I have been advised of the nature and charges against me and the dangers and disadvantages of self-representation. My waiver is voluntarily and intelligently made. Furthermore, I have been advised this 4th day of February of 2022 by the County Court at Law number 2 of my right to representation by counsel in the case pending against me. I have been further advised that if I am unable to afford counsel, one will be appointed for me free of charge. Understanding my right to have counsel appointed to me free of charge, if I am not financially able to employ counsel, I wish to waive that right and request the court to proceed with my case without an attorney being appointed for me. I hereby waive my right to counsel. And if that's your choice, you signed on the line that says defendant, it is dated today's date. Okay, now at this time, Mr. Reese, you can speak to the prosecutor when he is available. Just have a seat in the gallery, and when they're available, they'll be able to talk to you. Okay, Mr. Samuel Adams.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Adams, I think your attorney, Mr. Macon, is ill, but could you call his office? I understand that Mr. Joe Vasquez will be standing in for him. So call his office, talk to Mr. Vasquez, and have Mr. Vasquez get on Zoom. Okay? All right, and, all right, thank you. And put your mic on mute. Thank you. Court is in session and cause number 331038. Style of the case is Colin Carpenter or Colin Ann Carpenter. Your name is Colin Carpenter?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Ms. Carpenter?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Ms. Carpenter, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Carpenter, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes,
You may put your hand down. Ms. Carpenter, you're here represented by your attorney, Attorney David Grove. Attorney Grove, how are you doing?
Good, Judge, thank you.
That's good. Now, Ms. Carpenter, I have before me an information that alleges on or about August 25th of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Ms. Carpenter, do you understand what you've been charged with?
yes,
And to discharge, Ms. Carpenter, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
guilty,
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
yes,
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty? Ms. Carpenter, I have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishments. Ms. Carpenter, do you recognize this document?
yes,
It's also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. On page 2 of this document, there are a set of initials above a line that's next to a box that's checked guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
yes,
On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature?
yes,
And on the next document, which is titled trial court certification, the defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
yes,
Is this your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
yes,
There are two boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargaining case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
yes,
The second box states that you're waiving your right to the appeal, which means you're giving up your right to the appeal. Do you understand that?
yes,
I also have before me, Ms. Carpenter, a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
yes,
Is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
yes.
Ms. Carpenter, before you sign and initial these documents, did your attorney, Mr. Grove, go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection. State's Exhibit Number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Grove, you've advised and counseled Ms. Carpenter. Is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None that I'm aware of.
Ms. Carpenter, your attorney, Mr. Grove, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Carpenter, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your pleas and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargaining agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
Your Honor, the agreement is for 1 year deferred probation, during which the defendant would pay a $500 fine, perform 40 hours of community service, attend DWI classes, and be subject to a drug and alcohol assessment.
You got an interlock?
No, sir.
Well, you gotta have an interlock on a deferred DWI.
That's correct.
you'll have to have an interlock installed on your vehicle because of the deferred. And that's because it's not regular probation. We discussed it.
Okay, y'all need to, talk about that. I don't think this, you didn't put it in the judgment, did you?
Yes, sorry.
So it's in the, okay, but y'all need to talk about that. I don't know if that was part of the, maybe a deal breaker or,
It does need to be put on the.
oh, it does? Yeah,
Judge, I think we're agreeable to that. It's just one of those things.
yeah, it's mandatory.
that- Well, yes, sir. I realize that. I just didn't think of that when we were doing this, but Ms. Carpenter realizes that's to get deferred. That's what you got to do. And she wants to have that right. Is that correct?
Yeah, you could, write it in on the plea form.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Your lock device.
Yes. Used to when you couldn't get deferred that I have not recalled the law changed.
Mhm. Okay. Mr. Vasquez, would you please put your mic on mute? Thank you. Okay, now, State, could you repeat that offer?
Yes, Your Honor. The state is offering 1 year deferred probation, a $500 fine, 40 hours of community service, DWI classes, drug and alcohol assessments, and interlock device.
Ms. Carpenter, the state is offering, let me see. The state is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation. During this 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $422, which comes to a total of $922. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You'll be required to reimburse Jefferson County, the court-appointed attorney's fees of $250. You will also be required to pay Jefferson County DWI education class an initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Ms. Carpenter, the total installment, monthly installments, that is the total amount that you would have to pay each month while you're on probation, is $185 a month. Ms. Carpenter, will you be able to pay the $185 each month?
Yes, sir.
You will also be required to perform 40 hours of community service, attend and complete a DWI education class. You'll be required to have a drug and alcohol assessment, and you'll be required to install a DWI interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate. Now, Ms. Carpenter, well, State, what is the, did she have a breath test in the case?
Yes, Your Honor. It was 0.136.
136, okay, that's below 0.15.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, do you have a regular driver's license or do you have a CDL? Regular driver's license? And this offense occurred after September 1st of 2019? Okay. Okay. Now, Ms. Carpenter, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer? Okay, Ms. Carpenter, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Ms. Carpenter. Let's see. On violation of a condition of deferred adjudicated, well, first of all, the court is going to defer finding of guilt and place you on deferred probation. Now, on violation of condition of deferred adjudicated probation or community supervision imposed under Article 42A.104, defendant may be arrested and detained as provided by law in Article 42A.751. The defendant, you are entitled to a hearing limited to the determination by the court of whether the court will proceed with an adjudication of guilt on your original charge. The court may not proceed with an adjudication of guilt on the original charge if the court finds that the only evidence supporting an alleged violation of a condition of deferred adjudication, probation, or community supervision is the uncorroborated results of a polygraph examination. The determination to proceed with adjudication of guilt on the original charge is reviewable in the same manner as a revocation hearing conducted under Article 42A.751D in a case which the adjudication of guilt was not deferred. Also, after adjudication of guilt, all proceedings, including assessment of punishment, pronouncement of sentence, granting of community supervision, and the defendant's appeal continues as if adjudication of guilt had not been deferred. Now, so Ms. Carpenter, if you successfully complete your deferred probation, this case will be dismissed. It will not result in a conviction on your record, and you may qualify for non-disclosure, and you can talk to your attorney about how you can apply for a non-disclosure. And Ms. Carpenter, you can stand on the X next to your attorney. You're going to follow the directions of our court coordinator. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Grove, once you finish signing the documents, you'll be free to go as well. You have a blessed day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Hi, Ms. Carpenter, can I go ahead and get your right thumbprint on that blue light located in front of you?
Court is in session and calls number 326-869. Case is style of State of Texas versus Samuel K.O. Adams. We have Mr. Adams appearing via Zoom. Mr. Adams, how are you doing?
I'm well, yourself, Your Honor.
I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Adams, your attorney at record is Mr. James Macon, and Mr. Macon is not here, however, standing in for Mr. Macon. Mr. Joel Vasquez. Mr. Vasquez, how are you doing?
Good, Your Honor. I'm sorry I'm late. It was my mistake on docket.
Well, actually, this was supposed to, the hearing was supposed to start at 11 o'clock, so you're not late.
Oh,
Yes, we have it set for.
early,
but,
Your Honor.
Yeah, but the state, Mr. Ham mentioned that you had called him regarding this case. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Hammond and I spoke about it yesterday.
Okay. Do you have well, first of all, let me do this here. Mr. Adams, does, Mr. Vasquez have your permission to stand in for Mr. Macon?
He does, Your Honor.
Okay, now, Mr. Vasquez, do you have a motion?
Yes, sir.
And what is that motion?
Your Honor, I was requesting a reset.
Okay,
Mr. Macon is Mr. Adams' attorney, and he's not available today, and I was asking for a 60-day reset.
okay. Could you give us a 60-day reset?
Yes, I can. It's 4/22.
Okay, it's gonna be reset to April 22nd of 2022. Your reset will be.
Thank you, Your
sent
Honor.
The reset will be sent to Mr. Macon's office. And Mr. Adams, stay in contact with your attorney, your bondsman. They will be giving copies of your reset. This will conclude your case. Thanks for being patient with us. You're free to go and you have a blessed day.
Yourself as well, Your Honor.
And Mr. Vasquez, you are free to go as well. And I think this is the only case you have. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
Okay, you're free to go as well and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Your Honor. You as well.
Okay. You're welcome. Are we doing it, Mr. Cole, we doing anything on your case? I don't see nothing else. Oh, this thing is at the bottom. I think he sent it to somebody. The prosecution was supposed to send it back. No, it's right here. Oh, you never got it? Oh, she never got it. Y'all just have a seat. Oh, I thought. You gotta send it back to, or maybe he has to send it back to you.
Oh, wait a minute.
Plus it's down here. Yeah, but I think the defense has to send it back. Is that how it works?
Your Honor, there was a,
Or maybe you have,
so we did it, and then there was a post
Terrell Raleigh,
Terrell Reese.
excuse me, Terrell Reese.
Yes, Your Honor.
I get Raleigh. Raleigh's the last one, Joshua. It was gonna be Reese. You have that, Bible?
Oh, yes, sir, I'm sorry. There goes. But I got you.
Court is in session in 3 cases. First case is cause number 316012. Second case is cause number 316014. And the third case is cause number 317174. All 3 cases are styled the state of Texas versus Terrell D. Reese. Mr. Reese, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Reese, do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Mr. Reese, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Reese? That's good. Mr. Reese, I have, well, first of all, let's do this here. I have before me, Mr. Reese, a motion to revoke the unadjudicated probation. This motion in cause number 316012 alleges that you, Terrell Reese, in cause number 316012, was tried in County Court at Law Number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, on the 19th day of September of 2017 for the offense of resisting arrest, search, transportation. The court found the evidence was sufficient beyond a reasonable doubt to support a finding of guilt for the offense of resisting arrest, search, transportation. The court deferred adjudication of guilt in accordance with the provisions of Article 42.12 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, and the court placed you on unadjudicated probation for a period of 1 year. On August 12th of 2019, the state filed the motion to revoke your unadjudicated probation. Now, in this motion, there are 5 allegations. State, are you abandoning allegations 2, 3, 4, and 5?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Reese, the state is abandoning allegations 2, 3, 4, and 5, and they are only proceeding on allegation number 1. Allegation number 1 alleges that you, Terrell D. Reese, failed to report to the Jefferson County Probation Office ordered by the court on June 7th, 2019, July 8th, 2019, and August 2nd of 2019 as directed, in violation of condition 4 of your probation order. Is that true or not true? Now, Mr. Reese, are you pleading true to allegation number 1 freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading true because it is true? Mr. Reese, I have before me several documents. First document that I have is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without an Attorney. Mr. Reese, do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? Yes, speak up.
Yes, sir.
And are these your initials on the line stating I want to waive my right to the attorney and represent myself?
Yes, sir.
I also have another document that's titled Waiver of Counsel for Purposes of Entering a Guilty Plea or Proceeding to Trial. Mr. Reese, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that is titled Defendant? Okay, now, Mr. Reese, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. It is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Mr. Reese, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Reese, there are 2 sets of initials. The first set of initials is on a line next to a box that's checked MTRP, which means motion to revoke probation, true to allegation number 1. Would you place your initials on this document? The second set of initials is on the line below a paragraph that is titled Discovery Admonishment. And the initials are on a line next to a statement that reads, I do not request discovery of the evidence. I waive my right to request discovery of the evidence in this case and choose to enter a plea of guilty or no contest. Now, I will erase where it says guilty or no contest because you're entering a plea of truth. So it says that you're entering a plea of truth. Are these your initials on the line that's next to the box that I've just read? Now, Mr. Reese, on the third page of the same document, there's a signature above the line inside the defendant. Is that your signature? On
Speak
the,
up, Mr. Reese.
you have to speak up. She's taking a record, okay? Mr. Reese, I have another document here that's titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes,
Is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
yes,
There are two boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
yes,
The second box states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
yes.
Now, Mr. Reese. Okay. Mr. Reese,
Yes,
prior to signing and initialing all of these documents that I've just mentioned to you, did you read the documents?
yes,
Did you understand what you read?
yes,
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
yes.
State I have before me states exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer states 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Reese, the state is offering states exhibit number 1 to be used as evidence against you. Now, states exhibit number 1 is a document that you acknowledge, the first document, which is the misdemeanor plea admonishment. It also is the same document that have your initials on page 2 and your signature on page 3. Is it all right for the state to use this document as evidence in your case?
Yes.
Okay, no objection. State's exhibit number 1 is admitted. Mr. Reese, is there any evidence that you are currently mentally incompetent to stand trial? Mr. Reese, I will accept your plea of true to allegation number 1. I will also find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your pleas and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that the evidence is sufficient to revoke your unadjudicated probation, and your unadjudicated probation is hereby revoked. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
It's 180 days county jail. And Mr. Reese has 180 days credit for time served. Support cost to be taxed and retired. In consideration, the state is also going to move to dismiss cause number 316014, as well as cause number 317174. Those were both motion to revoke.
Okay, Mr. Reese, the state is offering that you serve 180 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in Jefferson County Jail on this case because you've already served 180 days. Therefore, you'll be given credit for time served. Court cost in this case is $287, but you will not have to pay the court cost because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court costs will be taxed and retired. And the state will be dismissing cause number 316014 and cause number 317174. Mr. Reese, do you understand the state's offer? And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes,
And do you accept the state's offer?
yes,
Okay, Mr. Reese, I'll follow the plea bargain agreements that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Reese, would you please stand on X in front of our court clerk and follow her directions? And once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go. And you have a blessed day. And Mr. Reese, I'm signing your dismissals. You'll be able to get your dismissals before you leave?
No, no.
All right,
Hi, Mr. Reese.
thank you. Yeah, hold on, I'm on Zoom.
I'm gonna have to read your paperwork because I mismatched some of the numbers. So if you want to have a quick seat, let me take care of that and I'll call you right back.
And Mr. Reese, Mr. Reese? He's saying right there, the prosecutor stated that, you're working. Well, first of all, you're no longer on probation, so congratulations, for completing your probation. And the other thing, apparently, if you're working, apparently you're productive. And, that's what we want, produce productive citizens. Now, are you here by yourself?
Yes.
Okay, I thought that young lady in the back was with you. She's not? Okay. Well, nothing wrong with that. But, Mr. Reese, keep up the good work. You have any kids?
Just one.
Well, that's good enough. You got a child to take care of. And when that child needs some milk, child needs a roof over their head, needs some clothes, they're not looking at me, they're looking at you. Okay, so we like to commend you for stepping up, being productive. And we ask that, you continue to be productive in Jefferson County and the world. And you continue to step up, be that man that your child wants you to be. All right, so congratulations.
All right, appreciate that.
You're welcome.
You wanna stick with the Lord? So you can handle that success.
We're in session in two cases. First case is cause number 331026. Second case is cause number 331174. Both cases are style of state of Texas versus Pamela Michelle Irvin. Ms. Irvin, is that your full name?
Yes.
How you doing, Ms. Irvin? That's good. Ms. Irvin. Uh-oh, a court reporter. Hold on a minute. Okay, we're in session in cause numbers 331026 and cause number 331174. Both cases are style of state of Texas versus Pamela Michelle Irvin. Ms. Irvin, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Irvin, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Irvin, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Ms. Irvin, you may put your hand down. How you doing, Ms. Irvin? That's good. Ms. Irvin, you're here represented by your attorneys Giles Cole. Attorney Cole, how are you doing? I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Ms. Irvin, I have before me in cause number 331026 an information that alleges that on or about July 5th of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more. Now state, are you abandoning the enhancement paragraph?
Yes, Your Honor, the state will abandon the enhancement paragraph.
And Ms. Irvin, the state is abandoning the enhancement paragraph, and basically what that means is you, what explain this now? What that means is that your offense is being reduced from a class A misdemeanor to a class B misdemeanor. And that simply means that the range of punishment is different. In essence, you're going to a lower offense than what you originally charged with. And do you, Ms. Irvin, do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Irvin, I have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Do you recognize this document? Okay. And on page 2 of this same document, there's a set of initials, P.E., on a line that's next to a box that's checked guilty. Are these your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document, which is the trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Are these your initials on the line that's above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes.
There are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargaining case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The second box states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And Ms. Irvin, I have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Are these yours? Well, is this your signature on this document? Now, Ms. Irvin, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
State, I have before me state's exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer states 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections? No objections. State's exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Giles, you've advised and counseled Ms. Irvin. Is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir.
Mr. Irvin, your attorney, Mr. Giles, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Ms. Irvin, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Let me do this here. Okay. Hey, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
Your Honor, the agreement on case number 331026 is for 180 days in jail probated over a term of 1 year, a $1,500 fine, 80 hours of community service, DWI classes, drug and alcohol assessments, and interlock. And additionally, the state will submit a motion to dismiss case number 331174.
Ms. Irvin, the state is offering that you serve 180 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail because you will be placed on probation for a period of 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $1,500 plus court costs of $492, which comes to a total of $1,922. You will also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You will be required to reimburse Jefferson County court-appointed attorney's fees of $250. You will also be required to pay Jefferson County DWI education class an initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Now, the total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you would have to pay each month while you're on probation, is $275 a month. Ms. Irvin, will you be able to pay the $275 each month?
Yes.
You will? Okay. Now, Ms. Irvin, you will be required to also perform 80 hours of community service, attend a DWI education class, and have a drug and alcohol assessment, install the interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate. The state will dismiss cause number 331174. And as stated earlier, the state is waiving or abandoning the enhancement paragraph from a DWI with a breath alcohol of 0.15 or more to a DWI first. You'll also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation. Ms. Irvin, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes,
And do you accept the state's offer?
yes.
Ms. Irvin, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Ms. Irvin, you're gonna stand on the X next to your attorney. You're gonna follow the directions of our court clerk. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go. And you have a blessed day. And before you leave, we're gonna give you and your attorney a copy of that dismissal. And Mr. Cole, once you finish signing, you'll be free to go as well, and you'll have a blessed day.
Listen, thank you, Mr. Ham. Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right, Ms.
Sorry for
Irvin, can I
mixing
go
up
ahead and
again.
get your right thumbprint on that blue light, please? Thank you. You can remove your thumb. And if I could get your signature on that signature pad located in front of you, you won't be able to see it, but I will. Okay, and now, Mr. Cole, can I get your signature as well?
Yes, ma'am.
And now, Ms.
What
Irvin,
dismissal?
one last thing that I need from you, raise your right hand for me. Please swear that you've never before been given deferred adjudication or regular probation for a felony or misdemeanor in Texas or any other state. All right, Ms. Irvin.
You said it was another one?
That's good.
Court is in session. It calls numbers 328-742 and calls number 328-744. Both cases are style the state of Texas versus Janica Lachey Gilliam. Ms. Gilliam, is that your full name? Janicia Lachey Gilliam. Okay. Ms. Gilliam, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Gilliam, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Ms. Gilliam, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Ms. Gilliam? Okay, but Ms. Gilliam, you're gonna have to speak up when you talk because she's taking a record. Oh, okay. Well, let's see if we can get through this. Now, Ms. Gilliam, you're represented by your attorney, Mr. Don Boudreaux. Mr. Boudreaux, how you doing?
It's fine, sir.
That's good. Mr. Boudreaux, or Ms. Gilliam, I have before me in cause number 328-744, an information that alleges that on or about December 8 of 2020, while you in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of failure to identify a fugitive from justice. Ms. Gilliam, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes.
And to this charge, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, no contest? Now, you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Judge, she pled no contempt.
Oh, let me back up. Now, Ms. Gilliam, to this charge, failure to identify a fugitive from justice, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Can you speak up, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, Ms. Gilliam, I have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishments. Ms. Gilliam, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And on page 2 of this same document, Ms. Gilliam, are these your initials on this document?
Yes.
And the next document is page 3, on page 3 of the same document, or is this your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes.
On the next document, which is titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document? And is this your signature above the line that's titled defendants? There are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The second box states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, now, Ms. Gilliam, would you like to sit down? Okay, let's get her a chair.
You okay to sit here at the table, Judge? You want her up here?
She could just sit up out there. Just sit it up here in front of the bench. Okay, is that better?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, where was that?
The second box question, the second box
Okay.
states. Mhm.
And Ms. Gilliam, I have another document here that's titled Discovery Certification. You recognize this document? And is that your signature at the bottom above the line that's titled defendant? Okay. Now, Ms. Gilliam. Or Ms. Gillum, do you pronounce Gillum or Gilliam? Gillum? Ms. Gillum. Prior to signing and initialing all of these documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney, Mr. Boudreaux, go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything in these documents? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Okay. State. I have before me states exhibits number 1 and 2. State, you like to offer states 1 and 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objection? No objection. States exhibits number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Boudreaux, you have advised and counseled Ms. Gillum. Is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir.
Ms. Gillum, your attorney, Mr. Boudreaux, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Gillum, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
Your Honor, the agreement in case number 328-744 is for 1 year of deferred probation, a $250 fine, 24 hours of community service, and for the defendant to participate in moral recognition therapy.
Okay,
And additionally, the state will dismiss case number 328742.
Ms. Gillum, the state is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation. During the 1 year deferred adjudication probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $250 plus court costs, and a fine and court costs comes to a total of $617. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and a court-appointed attorney's fees of $250. Now, the total amount that you have to pay each month is $155 per month. Ms. Gillum, will you be able to pay the $155? What did you say?
Yes.
And Ms. Gillum, you will also be required to perform 24 hours of community service. You'd have to attend and complete a moral recognition therapy as a condition of your probation. The state will be dismissing cause number 328742, and you will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of your probation. Ms. Gillum, do you understand the state's offer? Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just? And do you accept the state's offer? Okay, Ms. Gillum, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Ms. Gillum, if you successfully complete the probationary period, this case will be dismissed. It would not result in a conviction on your record, and you may qualify for non-disclosure. You can talk to your attorney about the non-disclosure because he's quite competent in those matters. Now, Ms. Gillum, I guess you could slide your chair over here in front of the X. Okay, you stand. You're gonna stand in front of the clerk. She'll tell you what you need to do. You need to follow her directions. And once you're finished following her directions, you'll be free to go. You have a blessed day. And Ms. Gillum, we hope that you have on your delivery a healthy baby. And you have a blessed day. And Mr. Boudreaux, this will, once you sign, this will conclude your case. You'll be free to go as well, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Court is back in session and its motion to revoke probation docket. Last case is cause number 323994, case is style of state of Texas versus Luther v. Edmondson. We have Mr. Edmondson who was scheduled, well, Mr. Edmondson was scheduled to be in court this morning at 9 a.m. At or about 9 a.m., the bailiff called his name at the courthouse door. Mr. Edmondson did not answer. Mr. Edmondson has not appeared in court since the court has been in session. The time now is 11:12 a.m. on today's date, and he has not appeared in court. Mr. Bailiff, would you please call the name of Luther Edmondson? Okay, Luther Edmondson's name was just called again by the court's bailiff at the courthouse door. Mr. Edmondson did not answer. A reasonable time has passed to give Mr. Edmondson an opportunity to appear in court. He has not appeared in court. State, do you have a motion?
Yes, Your Honor, motion forfeit.
That motion will be granted. And Luther Edmondson bond will be forfeited and warrant shall be issued for his arrest in clause number 323998. Let me do this here. This will conclude the calling of both the announcement docket and the motion revoked docket and both dockets were scheduled at 9 a.m. on today's date of February 4th, 2022 in County Court at Law number 2, Jackson County, Texas. Judge Terrence Holmes presiding. Everyone, please have a blessed day. Well, blessed weekend.
Thank you, Judge.